Hi everyone, I'm here today to talk to you about some of the books that I hope to pick up in the next few months. I am not a complete seasonal reader, but I do like to pick up books that correspond with the time of year, and that means that sometimes books sit on my shelf because I mean to get to them in a particular season, and then that season has gone and I have to wait, or at least I feel like I have to wait until that season comes around again. So I went through my shelves this morning and picked out books that I would like to get to, not before the end of the year, but in the next few months, as I said, so in the winter season, and I thought I would talk to you about them. I probably won't get to all of these. I'm going to read other books apart from these two, but these are the books that I am particularly drawn to right now, and I thought I would mention them in case you are looking for some books that would fit the season, and I'll link them as always in the description box down below if you would like to go and find out more. So first off, I have these two books. I bought this one last summer and it's called Ice by Anna Kvan, and I wanted to read it last winter and I didn't get around to doing it. This is a bit of a post-apocalyptic, I think. It says, no one knows why the ice has come and no one can stop it. Every day it creeps further across the earth. It says that through this bleached, devastated world, one man pursues the silver-haired girl he loves. So I'm hoping to get to it this winter. I also really want to get to this book here, which I think has been on a few TBRs of my own. It is The White Book by Hong Kong, and it's translated from the Korean by Deborah Smith. This I don't think has much to do with snow, but I think it has a little bit to do with snow because it's an exploration of the colour white. So for that reason, I really want to read it now. Is that strange? I would like to read it now, even though, as you can see, it is not currently snowing. I would also like to read some more Persephone books. Probably not a surprise, I've been reading quite a few of them recently and they're perfect for this time of year. I've never read Dorothy Whipple, so I would like to read her. This is her book, Young Anne, which is about the life of a girl called Anne. I have just started reading it, so I know that I will be reading it this winter. Is that cheating? I'm not sure. And it's quite fast paced, surprisingly so. It's moving through her childhood really quickly. So I will report back once I have finished reading it. Next, I had this on my autumn TBR and didn't get to it, but it's really dark and gothic and creepy, so I really would like to read it around this time of year. So I'm carrying it over, and this is The Doll Maker by Nina Allen. And it's a creepy story about dolls that seem a little bit too real, and it's got fairy tale entwined in it, basically ticking all of the boxes of things that I like. The other day I was at the British Library for the launch of Anna James's Christmas anthology. It's called A Children's Literary Christmas. Anna is a friend of mine and I was kindly gifted this because I went along to read an extract at the launch, and the extract that I chose to read was a snowy scene from Winnie the Pooh, and I had a lovely time going through this book trying to find an extract that I wanted to read. So I already read quite a lot of this in doing that because I just found myself reading whole passages instead of skimming, which is really what I was supposed to be doing. But I want to finish reading it properly and I will talk about it more once I have done so. But it's a collection of, so I'm just making sure this pile of books doesn't fall down. It is a collection of extracts and short stories from classic children's books, mostly surrounding Christmas. Some of them are just wintry as opposed to Christmassy. So there's C.S. Lewis in there, A.A. Milne. There is, let me check the back of the book, Charles Dickens, Dylan Thomas, Michael Morpurgo, Mallory Blackman, lots and lots of different people and words inside. When I was at the British Library, I also went to look at these particular books, which I was so excited to look at because I'd never bought one before and I've always meant to. They publish a series of books called the British Library the British Library Crime Classics, and they publish old crime. I think it's mostly cozy crime. Some of it is set around Christmas, and as you know, I've been enjoying crime recently and enjoying Persephone books, and I'm hoping that this series is going to be like those two things meeting. That's what I'm really hoping. So I bought 3 because they were on 3 for 2. The spines look like this. You may have seen them in bookshops. So I bought 3 because they were on 3 for 2. And then Maria, who works at the British Library in the publishing company, was at Anna's event and asked if she could give me a 4th one, which is one of her favourites. So these are the ones I bought myself. This is The Christmas Egg, which I think is their most recent one, and it's by Mary Kelly. And it was first published in 1958, and this is one of their Christmas ones. So it's a crime that takes place on the 22nd of December, and an inspector finds the body of a woman in a gloomy flat off Islington High Street, and the woman is a princess, and her trunk is missing its glittering treasure. Next, I bought Murder by Matchlight by E.C.R. Lurak, which is a pen name. Her real name was Edith Caroline Rivet, and she mainly published books between the 1930s and the 1950s. This is also set in London in 1945 during a blackout. A murder takes place by a bridge, and someone sees the murderer's face, but only in a split second when they light a match to light a cigarette, and that's the only clue that they have to go on. And I also bought Raymond Postgate's book Somebody at the Door, which is a murder on a train, which I am really looking forward to reading, because I read Murder on the Orient Express, but I already knew the ending even when I read it as a teenager, so it didn't come as a shock. The ending is so iconic, so it'll be really fun to read a murder mystery set on a train where all the passengers are suspects, but I don't know going into it who did it, which is great. And then the one that Maria kindly gave to me is The Division Bell Mystery by Ellen Wilkinson, which is a murder mystery set in the Houses of Parliament, and it's written by one of the first ever female MPs, who was Ellen Wilkinson, and she was part of the Jarrow March, and she was one of the first female Labour MPs. So I'm really looking forward to reading these. I hope they live up to my expectations, and I will let you know if they do or do not. Next, as I've hauled recently, I'd like to read this over the winter months. This is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This was a recommendation from Lex. It's romance, which is not usually the genre that I go to, but it is about the president's son falling in love with the Prince of Wales, and it's supposed to be really lovely and charming. I've also hauled this recently, and I really want to get to it soon. It's The Snow Collectors by Tina May Hall, which is about a woman called Henna who is hiding away in a northeastern village where the snow never stops, and she discovers the body of a dead woman at the edge of a forest, which is somehow linked historically to the Franklin expedition. I don't know how. I will read it and find out, and I will let you know. I purchased this book last year, and I think it was on my winter TBR last year, so let's see if I can get to it this time. This is Alicia Cope's Brother in Ice, which is translated from the Spanish by Mara Faye Letham. This says that it is a part hybrid novel, part research notes, part fictionalized diary, and part travel log. It uses the stories of polar exploration to make sense of the protagonist's own concerns as she comes of an age as an artist, a daughter, and a sister to an autistic brother. So, again, on my TBR. I also want to read this book soon, which is a novel by a friend of mine, Sophie Hardek. This is her book Confession with Blue Horses, which is currently shortlisted for the Costa Best Novel of the Year award, which is very exciting. The blurb says, Toby and Ella's childhood in East Berlin is shrouded in mystery. Now adults living in London, their past is full of unanswered questions. Both remember their family's daring and terrifying attempt to escape. But what happened next? Where did their parents disappear to, and why? What happened to Heiko, their little brother? And was there ever a painting of 3 blue horses? So yeah, going to get to that one, definitely. I also would like to get to this one if I can, which is called Disappearing Earth by Julia Phillips. So this is about 2 sisters who are abducted, but I think it's more to do with the community and the landscape around them. It says, we are transported to vistas of rugged beauty, densely wooded forests, open expanses of tundra, soaring volcanoes, and the glassy seas that border Japan and Alaska. It's got a very, very beautiful cover as well. Jean bought me this as a gift, and I haven't read it, and I must get to it this Christmas. This is The Little White Horse by Elizabeth Goudge. It is a children's book. I never read it when I was younger. It says, for a fleeting instant, Maria thought she saw a little white horse with a flowing mane and tail, head raised, poised, halted in mid-flight, as though it had seen her and was glad. Maria Merriweather, a stranger to Moon Acre, is fascinated by the mysterious story of a long-lost moon princess and the magical little white horse. Before long, she is determined to restore peace and happiness to the valley, and Maria usually gets her own way. Finally, there are 2 more books I'd like to get to. This is The Island Child by Molly Aitken, which is coming out at the end of January, beginning of February, set in an island steeped in Irish folklore, and also Sarah Collins' book, The Confessions of Franny Langdon, which is about A Woman Called Franny. It says, Franny's tale begins being a young girl learning to read on a plantation in Jamaica, and it ends in a grand house in London where her new mistress is caught in a different kind of trap. She's blamed at the beginning for killing her mistress, and this is her telling her story. So those are all the books that are on my TBR, as well as many others on my shelves, but these are some of the books that I'd like to get to in the next few months. Have you read any of them? Would you like to? What are you keen to curl up with at this time of year? Let me know in a comment down below. I hope you're all having a great week, and I'll speak to you later. Lots of bookish love. Bye.